My brothers and sisters, good evening. There is a saying that goes this way: charity begins at home. But there is a question. If charity begins at home, where does it end? Where does it end? Di ba? So charity ends in everyone because charity is for all. All of us need charity. Similar thing we can say of salvation. Salvation begins with the Jews, but ends in everyone because salvation is for all. And this is one thing that we learn from the readings this 20th Sunday in ordinary time. The first reading from the book of the prophet Isaiah answers the question on whether the foreigners, the non-Jews, the pagans, the Gentiles, who wish to embrace Jewish faith, can they be allowed to enter the temple? Because only the Jews can enter the temple. The Lord answers that in the first reading. He says, "For my house shall be called a house of prayer for all people." He did not say only for the Jews. So my temple is not only, he did not say my temple is only for the Jews, but he says my temple or my house of prayer is for all people. So salvation is not only for the Jews, but for all people. And even the responsorial psalm tells us what is our response. "O God, let all the nations praise you." It is not, "Oh God, let only the Jews praise you." So even the responsorial psalm is telling us that salvation is not only for the Jews, but for all peoples. And the second reading from the letter of St. Paul to the Romans tells us that even if the Jews rejected the salvation offered by God, so anong ginawa ni Paul? He turned to the Gentiles. Ni-reject ng mga Jews eh. So he turned to the Gentiles. That's why he became he said here, "I am the apostle to the Gentiles." So if he did not turn to the Gentiles, it only means that salvation is only for the Jews. But the fact is that he turned to the Gentiles. So that means salvation is for all, not only for the Jews. And in the gospel, according to St. Matthew, we heard that Jesus said to his apostle, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." Ako'y para lamang sa mga Hudyo, the house of Israel. Pero in the end, he also brought salvation outside the house of Israel by healing the daughter of the Canaanite woman, a Gentile, not a Jew, a Gentile, who was tormented by a demon. So, Jesus brought salvation not only to the Jews, but also to other people. So if this is what Jesus did, we, his disciples, should do the same. Correct? Di ba? And in our case, salvation begins at home. So that means we should not only be working for our own salvation, but we have to work for the salvation of all in the home, of all in our family. So sana hindi yung isang paraan para tayo ay maligtas ay yung magsisimba. No? So sana wag nating payagan na tayo lang ang nagsisimba. Dapat siguraduhin natin na lahat ng nasa bahay, lahat ng ating nasa pamilya ay nagsisimba. No? Di ba? So in this time of pandemic, if we make sure that all at home and all in our family join the live stream mass on Sundays, because we don't have regular mass anymore in the church. But if we do this, we work. This is one way by which we work for the salvation of all at home and all in our family. But we should not only work for the salvation of all in our family and in our home, we should also work for the salvation of those outside our home, outside our family. That is what Jesus did. So, who are those outside? Of course, our neighbors. And if we are involved active in our parish, our co-workers, or co-volunteers in the parish. So if we remind them also to join the live stream mass every Sunday, that is one way by which we work for the salvation of those also outside our home, outside our family. Of course, there are so many other things that we can do in order to work for the salvation of others. Like, for example, just want to give you one more example. If we encourage those who are living together without the benefit of marriage to get married in the church, we also work for their salvation, etc., etc. So, my brothers and sisters, working not only for our salvation, but also working for the salvation of all is our mission. Let us be sure that we succeed in this mission.